So guys, I want to talk to you today about your self-esteem. We had Ajbinda, good to see you. Mina, thanks for joining us. Gano, thank you very much for joining us. I want to talk to you today about your self-esteem, and it's as a result of a conversation that I had while I was training these leaders, these police leaders early on today, and we're talking about self-esteem. We were talking about emotional intelligence, and then we went on to self-awareness and self-esteem. Self-awareness is a key factor when it comes to emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is really about knowing yourself before you can start trying to know other people, being aware of yourself before you can start being aware of the outside world. David, good to see you. I'm doing very well, thanks, Ajbinda. Thank you very much for asking. So we've got onto the subject of your self-esteem, self-confidence, self-esteem. Siridel, good to see you. Thank you very much for joining us. What is self-esteem? When we say that I've got low self-esteem, or I've got high self-esteem, or I've got good self-esteem, what does that mean? And I guess, you know, in the most basic of ways, we could describe it as your level of self-confidence, your level of self-belief, the internal language that's going on inside your head. Is it an empowering, supportive language, or is it a language that holds you back in life? Is it a language that stops you from achieving something? Is it a language that pretty much blocks you before you've even started? Hey, Claire, Sarah, evening, good to see you. Taj, good to see you. After this video, we're going to relax, and Taj is going to make me a nice cup of tea, I hope. So, your self-esteem. We've all been there in life, haven't we, where we doubt ourselves. But some people doubt themselves more than other people. Some people literally have no confidence. Some people aren't comfortable in terms of making friends. Some people just want to shy away and not want to deal with the outside world, or face up to problems, or even go and follow their dreams, because they don't believe in themselves, because they have a really low self-esteem. They have literally very, very little belief in themselves and very little confidence in themselves. And a lot of people would say, well, you know, I was born that way, this is the way I've always been, and this is the way I always will be. Jasper, good to see you. Thank you very much for joining us. So a lot of people will say this, and they'll have this kind of language. This is not for me. I can't do this. I just can't ever see myself doing this, achieving this, behaving like this, because we're having a discussion about green tea. Yeah, Ajbinda, yeah, it's always green tea for me, but she's asking whether I want jasmine green tea or decaffeinated green tea, and I think now I will want some jasmine green tea. That's all I drink, jasmine. Ellis says, always had fluctuating self-esteem. Most of us do fluctuate with our self-esteem and self-belief. Most of us do. That's quite normal. But how do you overcome that? Is about changing the internal language that you have. So we'll talk about that in a short while. Ali, good to see you. Pardeep, good to see you. Stuart, thanks for joining us. And whoever else is joining on, please do shout out who you are and where you're from. But where does self-esteem come from? Who forges your self-esteem? How is it built in the first place? Why is it that some people have very low self-esteem and low self-belief, and they're always beating themselves up inside? Yet other people seemingly have incredible confidence in who they are. They go on to achieve extraordinary things, and they have this unerring confidence in themselves. Why is that? How is it that some people who appear to come from similar circumstances, who appear to have pretty much the same in life, yet when you talk to them about their aspirations, their dreams, themselves, some will say, yeah, do you know what, I'm a go-getter. You know what, I will go out there, I'll step way outside my comfort zone, and I will smash this. And even if they fail, they'll get back up and they'll go at it again. And they are like a rhinoceros. They are singularly focused on their goal. And yet some people won't even get up in the first place. Some people will say, they'll want to hide behind some bushel somewhere because they just do not believe in themselves. So where does this self-esteem come from? Where is it born? Everything has a root. Where's the root of your low self-esteem or your high self-esteem? Well, I think there's two factors that we need to consider from the very start. And those are how you were treated by your parents and how you were treated by your peers. So if you like, throughout life we are conditioned in believing and thinking in certain ways. From the moment we're born, we're influenced by our parents first and foremost, and of course our siblings, and then of course we go to school, and then we are influenced by our peers, we're influenced by our teachers. As we grow older, we're influenced by people at university, people around us in our workplace. All of these people throughout your life are influencing you, whether they realize it or not. So if your parents praised you for doing the correct things, if they told you, wow, that was amazing, and even if you failed, they said, don't worry, that was incredible what you did, I'm really proud of you. If they told you that, if they praised you for every little thing that you did, even if it's screwing a top on top of a bottle, and they praised you for that, how do you think you might feel going forward in life? Naturally, you're more likely to have more confidence in yourself than if your parents said to you, every time you did something, oh, that's not the way to do it, this is the way to do it. Why don't you listen to me? Why are you so silly? Why are you so stupid? Why do you talk when you're not spoken to? All of these kind of things. Then, of course, your self-esteem will be impacted upon. And similarly, the next tier of people for me are your immediate peers. Particularly in school, particularly when you're younger in school. Ali says, being formed as childhood, if you've been controlled so much in your childhood, you'll lose the ability to make decisions without being scared. That is a really good summary of your self-esteem and how it's developed. Your self-esteem, your self-belief, your self-confidence is pretty much formed in your very earliest years. So if you have got people around you, or you had people around you, both within your peer circles and your parents and all the great influences in your life, if they have told you that you're absolutely amazing, that you're doing really good, and that you're really clever, and that you're really valued, then of course you're going to feel that through your life, and unless some significant experience comes in that shatters that belief. But if you're also told that you're useless, you're not going to achieve anything in life, that you can't get anything right, that you're too small, too short, too whatever it might be, then of course that belief system is also being formed. Claire says, my low self-esteem formed from an ex. When you're told every single day that you're stupid, I lost all confidence, I feel I'm starting to get that back. Okay, Claire, that's a really interesting one. So this is a person that's really, really close to you in life, and consequently and constantly you've been told that you're stupid, you're stupid. I bet you that ex also said to you, there is no way that you're going to be able to live without me, that no way you're going to be able to cope without me, that you will not be able to survive, etc., etc., etc. Because I've heard that kind of language before, and I know what goes on. But this is... Hi Barbara, good to see you, hope you're well. Almost missed this morning session. Of course, I keep forgetting it's morning time in Australia. Sarida, good to see you. Kill the self-doubt early on, absolutely. Challenge it while you can. Jazz, good to see you. Alamgir, good to see you, hope you're well. Who else is here? Simon, good to see you. And Heather, thank you very much for joining us. So, self-esteem, self-beliefs, inner language, it's all formed at a very, very early age, and can be formed by the most influential people in your life. Now, the thing is that most of these people aren't even doing it knowingly. They have no idea about the impact that it's having on your life. They have no idea that they are creating your future by implementing these thoughts inside your head at that very moment in time. Other possible causes of low self-esteem are the disapproval of authority figures. So authority figures such as parents and teachers have such a level of influence in our lives, in our thinking, that with that power that they have comes great responsibility. And sometimes we just don't get how much impact we're having on another human being. Overprotective education. Have you ever known anyone who's been to a private education or a boarding school, and they've been protected from the rest of society, and they've been sort of mollycoddled so much that they have no concept of what the real world is like. That happens an awful lot, and I know that I have seen people who come out of that kind of education come into the real world, and they have no idea how to cope because they've been separated from the real world for so long. Now, I'm not saying private education is a bad thing. Absolutely not. It's a good thing if you can afford it. It's a really good thing. But if you are going to do that, it's also important to expose your child to the real world as well, so they have a good sense of what goes on in the real world as well, so they're not floundering when suddenly they're exposed to realities of the world. Sometimes I have dealt with people who in their 30s and 40s, albeit they're successful, are still experiencing low self-esteem because the expectations of their parents were far too high. So you've got expectations from parents who, and I see this a lot with Asian families, where the parents will say, I expect you to be a doctor, I expect you to excel in this, I expect you to excel in that, I expect you to get straight A's, I expect you to be, a first class degree. And that, in the amount of pressure that puts on that young person, is incredible. And when that young person gets an A instead of getting an A star or, a first in their degree, they feel that they haven't achieved anything, whereas anybody else would say, wow, I got a first in my degree. How incredible is that? So that's a level that your self-esteem can impact upon you. So there are so many people walking around in life, and they look quite normal, they operate quite normally, but the sad thing is when you get inside their head and you understand the language that they're using to themselves, it's quite a sad state of affairs. They're beating themselves up on a daily basis just with the conversation that they're having inside their head. This conversation that they're having inside their head, there is no way they would have that conversation with anybody else. If you were to have a conversation with somebody else and constantly tell them, you're useless, you're useless, you're useless, you can't achieve anything, what kind of a person would you be? Would you be a person that you'd like? Would you be a person that you're proud of? Would you be a person that anybody else might like? So when you do have conversations with other people, are you always mindful of the impact that you're having on the other person? In most cases, of course we are. Those of us that don't like upsetting people, those of us who want people to feel better after they've had an interaction with you, will be very, very mindful of the impact and the words that we use on other people. So why on earth is it that we beat ourselves up? Why on earth is it that we treat ourselves as bullies? We are bullies to ourselves by the language that we use to ourselves. Why do we tell ourselves that we're useless? Or is it the case that we've become so good at this, we've become so good at this negative self-talk, that we don't even realize that we're doing it? The one conversation that we have with anybody, more than anybody else in the whole world, is a conversation that we have with ourselves. And yet this is the one conversation that most people in the world are not even conscious of. They allow all this negative language to flow inside their head. They allow all of this negative language to beat themselves up with like a big stick. And yet there's no way they would do that to somebody else. Not even to their worst enemy. And yet we treat ourselves worse than our worst enemy. So here's the thing. When you are next doing some negative self-talk, when you are next doubting yourself, remember this. Every single one of us, born into this world as a human being, has equal potential to rise and be whatever they want to be. Every single one of us has exactly the same potential. Every single one of us can create the same opportunities. Accepting that there might be some physical restrictions on your body because of illnesses, disabilities that you might be born with, you still have equal potential. And even if you do have some kind of ailment, some kind of disability, some kind of condition, please, please, please do not use that as an excuse for not achieving in life. Because you only have to look at Paralympics to understand that even if you have a disability, you can still create an incredible future. You can still have success beyond your wildest measures. You can even outperform fully abled people. Everything is mindset. The mindset is everything. This inner language that you use to yourself, irrespective of what your parents, your peers, your teachers might have said to you in the past, unknowingly, and damaging you unknowingly, or previous partners who have stupidly told you that you're incapable, that you're not worthy, such as Claire mentioned early on, because some people say this on purpose, some people say this to hurt us. But I'm here to tell you now that they were just being cruel. They have no idea. Nobody has any idea what you are capable of. Nobody. Even I have no idea what you're capable of, but I tell you this, I have every idea that you're capable of achieving far, far, far more than you could ever even dream about. So the next time you're having some negative self-talk, just remind yourself that within you, there is this incredible power, incredible potential, incredible ability to achieve so much. And all you need to do is do it. All you need to do is have a go. All you need to do is have sufficient belief to take that first step, because that's the hardest step. All you need to do is try and overcome this negative self-talk, this self-bullying, this self-sabotage that we allow ourselves to do. And sometimes this sabotage, this self-sabotage that we get involved in, sometimes that self-sabotage is unconscious. You're not even aware that you're doing it. You're just allowing it to flow into your mind. These silly words that we use to ourselves, we're allowing it to flow into our mind, and we are not even challenging it. Yet, if somebody else was to talk to you like that, what would you do? You'd stop them, you'd challenge them, you'd say, hang on a minute. How dare you speak to me like that? So I want you to say to yourself, next time you are like this, I want you to say, stop. How dare you speak to yourself like that? What right have you got to speak to yourself like that? Flip it on its head. Reframe that negative self-talk. When you tell yourself that you can't do something, remind yourself that you have got far more power in you. You can achieve and do more, and much more than you ever thought yourself capable of. And you can achieve more and do more than anybody else around you thinks that you're capable of. Had I believed all the negative self-talk that I've ever had in my life, I would not be doing what I'm doing right now. I was laughing earlier on with some of these police leaders that I was training, and I was saying, when I first decided that, this is the life that I was going to lead after the police service, and I was at very senior levels, when I started telling people all of this, that I wanted to, change the world through the transformation of people, I wanted to be on stages around the world, I wanted to have a global client base, some of those people actually laughed at me. Some of those people actually laughed at me, and they said, there is no way that's going to happen. Guys, what am I doing right now? And I don't say this to impress you. I say this to impress upon you that once you challenge that negative self-talk, everything is possible. Anything is possible. It is incredible, that power that you have within you. It is incredible what you can achieve, and it is incredible because it's you that's doing it. This power that you have that's invisible within you, all it needs, more often than not, all it needs is for you to flip the switch and turn it on. Because when you turn that power on, guys, your world will transform. It will be incredible. And people will then notice what you are achieving. You don't need to challenge people by word of mouth. Challenge people by your actions. The only person that you need to challenge right now is yourself. If you've got negative self-talk, if you're beating yourself up, if you are self-sabotaging, if you are keeping your level of self-esteem right down there, pick it up, bring it back up, tell yourself, remind yourself, shout to yourself that you can achieve anything, and then take those steps. And if you fall over as you're taking those steps, remember, when a baby first learns to walk, how many times does it fall? Within a few months, that baby is running around and you cannot control it. Am I right? You also will fall. You'll fall several times. You'll keep picking yourself back up. You'll fall more times. You'll pick yourself back up. You'll fall more times. And before you know it, you are running around like a toddler. You are living your life to its fullest. So, guys, I'm here to tell you that you are good enough. You are worthy. You can achieve. You can do. Don't believe the naysayers. Forgive your parents and your peers and your teachers in your past if they have influenced you to beat yourself up, to think in a certain way. Forgive them. They probably didn't do it knowingly. They probably didn't have any idea of the level of impact that you having that they were going to be having on you. Forgive them, because there's no point in holding resentment inside you. Holding resentment is just adding weight to your soul. There's no point in it. So let go. Let go, forgive, but make a decision. Make a decision right now to grow. Make a decision to do something incredible. Make a decision to live life on your terms, not on somebody else's, on your terms. That is so very important. Let me read some comments out and say hi to a few more people. We've had a few people join us today. Tim, good to see you. Angela, good to see you. So need this as my self-esteem is rubbish. Oh, well, it shouldn't be, Angela. You're incredible. I love you. You're beautiful. Halima, good to see you. Fazal, good to see you. Anna, good to see you. Sue, thanks for joining us. Lewis, good to see you. Bronwyn, thanks for joining us. Tim, good to see you. Ellis says, I find I seek out praise, and when it doesn't come, my self-esteem dips, especially when others continue to get praise. Does that come from competing with my siblings as a child? It could well do, Alice. We don't know where half these things come from. But let me say this thing to you. In life, we are conditioned to compare ourselves. We're taught to compare ourselves to other people. And so, as you grow through life, as a child, you might compete with your siblings. As you grow older, we're constantly looking over the garden fence and saying, how's my neighbor doing? Is their garden better than mine? How's my work colleague doing? How is it that they've got that success? How come they've got a nicer car than I have? In business, I know people constantly looking, particularly in my business of coaching. I know coaches comparing themselves all the time. How is it that they're getting these clients? How is it that they're getting these speaking gigs? How is it that they run such successful workshops? I've learned one thing, and hopefully you can take this away with you. The more I compare myself to others, the more pressure I put on myself. I have realized the secret is to put the blinkers on. Only look at what is within your control, and that is your life. Just focus on your life. But remember, just because other people are doing whatever they're doing doesn't mean they're doing it right. So focus on your own life. You literally cannot compete with other people and expect the same results, because they are on different journeys. They haven't got the experience that you've got. They haven't had the history that you've had. Only you can live your life, and only they can live their life. It's as simple as that. So when somebody does do well, I always silently am very happy for them, wish them well, and then I move on. I pay no more heed to it than that. I say, yeah, well done, nice one, and I move on with my life, because I need to focus on my life. If I want the life that I want, I need to focus on it right now. Nobody else is going to come in walking through that door and say, right, Cole, hang on, put your life on hold, I'm going to take over for you. It doesn't work that way. So start looking after yourself. Don't worry about other people. Don't compare yourself to other people. There is no point. No point in getting jealous, envious, angry, frustrated. No point. These are negative emotions that are just going to pull you down. Who else is there? Anna, good to see you. Here with Oliver and Freya. Hey, Oliver and Freya, good to see you. I nearly broke the phone then. Who else is there? Cheryl, good to see you. Sarah, good to see you. Neelam, Nikki, Jean, Connie, good to see you. Sangeeta, thanks for watching. Ali says, in our house, was prohibited to stop children, us, from trying things. Even if things went wrong, we were praised by mom, even though dad was always expected more. I'm sorry, there's some typos there, so I can't really. My mum made us to be great leaders in life with very high confidence to take risks and try things. How amazing is that? That is perfect. That's what we all want, isn't it? Pauline, good to see you. I hope you're well. Kuldeep says, I was always told I wouldn't achieve anything. And what have you achieved, Kuldeep? You're a driving instructor. You know, you've passed exams. You passed them first time round. So, do you know what? Whoever told you that you wouldn't achieve anything, can you not see that you've just proved them wrong? So I would say to you, continue to go on and prove people wrong. Keep proving people wrong. But prove people wrong, not with your words, but with your actions. And the only way you're going to prove people wrong with your actions is by taking action. It's only action that's going to lead to a reaction. So make sure that reaction is a good reaction, i.e. it's success. But you can only do that by taking action in the first place. Edward, good to see you. Chris, thanks for joining us. Pinky, thank you for joining us. Fazil, so true, forgive and forget. There's no point in holding bad emotions about people. There is absolutely no point. It takes you nowhere, guys. Bali, good to see you. And Fazil says, compete with yourself. I think this is a great way of finishing this off. Guys, the only person that you are ever in competition with in life, it's not other people. It is not your siblings. It's not even the people that told you were useless. It's not even that ex-partner that Claire mentioned, you know, who told her that she would be useless without him, that she's incapable, not worthy, not capable of doing anything. It's not those people. You do not have to compete with those people. The person that you are running that race with is you. Nobody else. So wake up every single day, make the decision every single day that you're going to grow, you're going to have a growth mindset. Every single day you're going to do something more. Every single day you'll grow by 2 millimeters more. Every single day you'll become a better version of who you are. Every single day you'll take one step towards your goal. Go out there and do that. Go out there and do that, and go out there and prove to yourself that actually you hold the button as to what your self-esteem should be, nobody else. Don't give your power away. Retain your power and become the hero of your own story. Thank you so much for joining me today on today's Facebook Live. And God bless you all. I hope to see you on the next Facebook Live. Bye-bye.